All right, this is your boy East Coast Trev. We are back at the we're doing real good already. Springfield Sportsman Show here in Springfield, Massachusetts. I'm actually joined by some other podcasters. I'll let them go around table and kind of introduce themselves.
Patrick Guyette, Huntsuburbia podcast. Actually, I was thinking about we're going to flip it and we're going to interview you.
Oh, no, come on. We can't do that.
Jason Alex with Northeast Hunt and Film podcast.
Well, I appreciate you guys joining me on this one. I know it's this could get a little reckless, but how's the show so far, guys?
It's been good. Been fun.
Yeah. It's a good show. How about for you, Patrick?
It's good, yeah. I'm promoting the Huntstock event that we're putting on that you're going to be at, and we're super looking forward to it. Selling a couple tickets and just getting the word out. It's been a lot of fun, man.
Well, you brought it up. Why don't you just go into it and kind of tell a little bit about it? I know that our listeners have kind of heard about it. Well, I've talked about it just a little bit, but why doesn't the man himself kind of talk about it a little bit? Because I'm very excited about the event.
Yeah, Huntstock is just it's a new look on hunting shows. Everybody's been to a million different hunting shows. Most of them are indoors. They're in a place like this, which is great. There's nothing wrong with it, right? But I want to do something a little bit different, do it outdoors, have it be a little bit like a music festival. But instead of having concerts and bands, it's you guys up on stage doing podcasts. And so we're going to have 7-8 different podcasters there, maybe more by the end of it, but Big Woods Bucks will be there. My podcast on Suburbia, yours Outdoor Drive, Jason's Northeast Hunt and Film. Gosh, there's more. Crossbow Hunting Podcast.
Just Hunt Club's going to be there.
Just Hunt Club, bunch of the YouTube pages.
Yep.
So just kind of like a community feel where everybody can get together in the summertime, drink some beers, shoot 3D archery course.
3D archery shoot.
Yeah.
So we got to bring our bows.
Bring your bows, man. Bring your bows.
Uh-oh, that could get kind of dangerous.
The farmer did say, he's like, we got to make sure that, people aren't drinking and shooting their bows. We'll figure out how to do that.
We're grown men. We'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But I'm from Vermont. I might be doing that.
I'm from Vermont. I do what I want.
Yep.
Is Vermont one of those states, like a live, free, die kind of state, or is it?
Oh, yeah.
That's New Hampshire's claim, but
Vermont's the real deal?
Vermont's just the other side of the river.
Jeez. And it gets that wild up there.
You never been to Vermont, man?
Not really, no. I skip right through it and go right to Maine.
We got to get you to Vermont. You don't have to hunt there because the hunting isn't great.
Right.
There's good turkey hunting and stuff, but the deer hunting.
Really good turkey hunting.
Yeah.
See, I'm a turkey
Really good
hunter
turkey
by heart.
hunting,
Like,
yeah.
I can care less about a deer. I'm a turkey hunter.
Are you going to Total Archery Challenge? I forget if I asked you.
I don't think I'll be able to because it's in the summer and working on the boat and stuff. It's tough for me to get there, but maybe I will. Maybe I'll make the... Are you guys going to go?
Well, I think he's buying a table, and I was thinking maybe splitting it with him, and he just mentioned that it's still during turkey season.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's really good turkey hunting around there.
So we might
It's right at a
climb
ski
up.
resort.
Yeah.
So you might talk me into it. You might have just talked me into going.
And at those higher elevations, it's at the end of May, but it's the same thing as if it was like a week and a half before that. Because it's higher up, they just go back in time a little bit. Telling you.
That's an interesting thing.
And Total Archery Challenge is right on a mountain. And we could just go real early, get up there at 3 a.m., do a morning turkey hunt, descend down the mountain, and work the booth.
Jeez.
Could be kind of fun. I don't know.
See, that sounds like a good time. See, they call this, you know what they call this? The boys from Rut River Outdoors, they call this cross-podcation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
I think it's such an important thing that the industry definitely needs is like-minded young dudes like us that have gotten into podcasting and work together with one another. It is such a very, very important part of everything that we do, honestly.
There's so many industries out there where a new competitor pops in and they look at them like a competitor. Podcasting is not like that, especially for hunters, because hunters can always listen to more content. There's not enough, especially around the Northeast.
Right. Yeah, you couldn't listen to all the podcasts and run out. Like you said, they're an hour and a half long.
Right.
And
there's 24 hours in a day.
Like my buddy Jake, he can listen to them all day long at work.
Yep.
Works in a machine shop.
So if he only listened to your podcast, he'd have a pretty boring day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be done. He'd be done in the first week, right? And same thing, you could blow through all my podcasts in a week, all your podcasts
Right.
in a couple weeks. You've been doing it a lot longer than us. What is your story, man? Like, I don't really want to flip it on you and ask, but you
We are
work on a
interviewing
boat?
you.
What do you do on a boat, man?
So what do I do on a boat? I'm a mate on a charter boat.
Really?
I've been doing it for quite some time now. That's my actual day job. So I do that in the summer, and then I have a little taxidermy business here in the winter.
In Connecticut, you're on a boat?
Yeah.
Yep.
Out of Groton. So I do a lot of striper fishing, ground fishing. That's about it, man.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a little bit different, man. It opens up my hunting season, so I can hunt turkey season. 'Cause I don't go back to work until, say, June 1st, and I work till about, I don't know, when it starts to get cold. October 15th, October 30th, maybe I'll cut out, and then just get to hunting. It's kind of
Perfect.
fun. It's something different, you know?
That sounds good.
Yeah, it is. It's not bad, right? So,
I love striper. I mean, I've only been a couple times, but it's a lot of fun to catch stripers.
especially big stripers. That's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we're known for catching big stripers, and it is so much fun. When you see somebody for the first time catch their first big striper and it's over 50 pounds, it's incredible, dude. Like, just to be part of that. It's honestly like being at hunt camp every day of my life.
Yeah.
It's just the enjoyment of people and just seeing them do that. It's definitely a good time, for sure.
What's the major method? You jigging a lot or
We do a lot of trolling.
Trolling, yeah.
A lot of trolling.
Is
Snapping wire.
Are there times where you do stop and jig or like what? Because so my buddy Scotland is a big fisherman. He's getting more and more into lake trout now.
Yeah.
And same kind of thing where a lot of people catch lake trout trolling.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's finding out more and more is you catch more trout when you troll, but you catch bigger ones when you jig because you can set the size of the jig and you're ruling out. You're not catching sub-mature
Right.
fish. You're only catching mature fish if you're jigging with a big bait.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's the same thing with striper.
So on the lure, so we actually jig while trolling, right? So we're snapping wire, and a lot of the times, if you're using, say, a bigger jig, or you get it down a little bit below the school, you'll get a lot of bigger fish. There's certain different colors that will actually target bigger fish. Sometimes if we're not snapping wire and we put on an umbrella rig or a tube and worm or whatever, we can really target those bigger fish and try and put bigger fish. So what we'll try to do is we're snapping wire at first. We'll fill the box with, the 28 to 35 inches, and then we'll switch it over and we'll put on a tube and worm and try and catch them what we call a slaunch donkey and see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Those are the good
I might have
ones.
to hit you up about that because I've never been
Come on, really?
striper fishing, but I got a bunch of buddies that have been off like the coast of Mass and stuff, and
It's a blast.
Dude,
It
you can
looks
catch
like fun.
stripers in the Connecticut River, can't you?
I don't know. if
They come
down
up the
there.
Connecticut.
Yeah, oh yeah, they do.
Probably certain areas,
They do up until the first dam, wherever
Right.
that is.
which is down here somewhere, right?
Probably.
So
but
Holyoke is a little bit north of us, so that is
Yeah.
the first dam.
That is
That's the first dam. But they catch stripers all the way up, almost.
where I am. I live right on the border. I'm in New Hampshire, but I'm like look across the Connecticut River into Vermont, and there's giant walleye where I am.
Easy.
Well,
Don't tell too many people about
don't
that.
give up your spot.
Especially our listeners. They love big walleye for some reason. Always
Yeah.
trying to bother me for that stuff. So be easy what you say.
there. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I was just
We
about
like
to
to
say
give out all the
about
information.
there's about 20 miles of it, so
Yeah, but they figure
won't
it
find
out.
me, but
Yeah. So whereabouts are so you're up on the New Hampshire border up
Yep.
that way. You do a lot of fishing up there, or
not a lot. I got a boat. I do some trolling for like rainbows and stuff, and
that's like
do some offshore fishing.
once you get north of here, that's what everybody does. It's trout fishing.
Yeah.
Why? What is the fascination with that?
I'll park the boat and bass fish around areas, and I don't know. It's just fun to putt around and
Just preference.
yeah.
Really?
There's a lot of
Trout's good. I love eating it.
trout's great, but personally for me too, like I love smallmouth bass fishing.
Yeah.
And I love pike. I love catching those toothy bastards, dude. They're
So
fun.
aggressive, fight hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a smallmouth. Smallmouth, probably pound for pound, is probably one of my favorite
Yeah.
catching fish.
Pound for
Especially in
pound. One
shallow
of the hardest
waters.
fighters for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They got those big auger tails like a carp would do, and they just fight to the death, especially in the cold water.
Yeah.
You fish a lot of them in the Connecticut River, or is there other lakes and stuff?
No, I've never fished the Connecticut River. I grew up in Rutland, Vermont. I mean, I fished the Otter Creek has some really nice pike. But the best fishery, my favorite place to fish is Lake Champlain.
Yeah.
Oh my God, beautiful.
What a mix of places.
Awesome place.
That's like a mini ocean in itself.
It is. It used to be. It used to be covered in ocean 150 million years ago. They found whale skeletons in there. And there's old dinosaur skeletons and all around it because back when the water levels were higher, the ocean came all the way into Lake Champlain, came down the St. Lawrence Seaway, from up north.
Where do you learn all these random facts? You were filled with them.
Fact check them. Google.
Yeah, geez,
Wikipedia
man.
or something. I don't know.
Dude,
Deep
that's
dives.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I would have never even thought that would have happened for Lake Champlain.
I think the oldest fossil of a living organism in America was in the Lake Champlain Valley. You'd need to fact check me on that one, but I think
no need. It's fact checked.
No,
you said
that's
it.
a fact.
Yeah, it's definitely a fact, man. So Patrick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your podcast, how it started, and kind of what you do on your podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I grew up in Vermont, hunting Vermont woods, big woods. I have a deer camp mentality. I've had a deer camp that's been in my family since the 50s. And I've never missed an opening weekend there. I mean, in Vermont, the culture and the heritage is strong for hunting. It's a holiday opening weekend. Everybody's out. And so all I did for the first 20 years of my hunting career was go to my camp, and I never hunted anywhere except for the woods around my camp because the tradition there was so good, so strong, and it was all about that camaraderie of deer camp. It wasn't about finding big deer or anything like that. It was just going to camp, having fun with the family. So there's deer few and far between there. I'd kill a deer every 3 years, every 4 years, a small buck or a doe, and that was the level of success. But I've been in Boston area for 10 years now, came down for work. But 3 years ago, I decided I need to start scouting around here more. I hear there's good hunting, and so I got into bow hunting because around the suburbs you need to use a bow. And COVID hit, so it was like a whole bunch of things. COVID hit, which gave me a ton more time to practice with a bow, to scout. I wasn't commuting into Boston all the time anymore. So I started the podcast, Huntsuburbia podcast, just to kind of document that journey of me learning as a bow hunter and completely changing my hunting tactics from big woods Vermont to little small patches of suburban hunting. And it's been a lot of fun. I got to interview so many good hunters, and it's made me a better hunter.
What do you think is the best thing that has come out of you having a podcast?
The network and the knowledge that you learn, just meeting people like you guys, all the guys that I've been fortunate enough to interview. I mean, Lanny Benoit is an absolute legend. From the legendary Benoit family. Just sitting down with him for 3 hours was incredible. Come to find out, he's got a lake house just about a mile away from my dad's lake house in Lake Champlain. So, he and I became pretty fast friends. And just meeting people like that, that if I never started a podcast, it wouldn't have happened. And just leaps and bounds a better hunter from it.
So for all the listeners that are listening in that haven't heard of you, what would be your number one episode for you to have them go and listen to?
If you're a tracker, you hunt big woods, and you're interested in that stuff, definitely go listen to the Lanny Benoit interview. That's the first one I did on video, too. It's on my YouTube page. Just type in Lanny Benoit, Living Legend, and that pops up. And if you're like bow hunter, suburban stuff, listen to the one with Neil Pendleton and Pat Burns, both tremendous hunters. They don't just hunt suburbs, but they do a lot of bow hunting suburbs, and they kill some giants.
So, Jason, I'm going to kick it over to you, buddy, real quick. Tell us a little bit about your project and what you're doing, and so that the listeners kind of know what's going on with you, man.
Yep. Well, I got into hunting a little later in life. I was 22 and I'm 33 now. I grew up around it. My uncles all hunted, but I rode dirt bikes and stuff, and my life was kind of built off like instant gratification. And I thought sitting in the woods was kind of boring, but got into it later in life and found tracking, which I love a lot. It's my favorite way to hunt by far is following a buck through the mountains in the snow.
And you get to follow Timmy Bolduck and some really good hunters.
I reached out in 2019 to the Big Woods Bucks crew, Hal Blood's crew, and because they said on a podcast, they're like, hey, looking for someone to tag along and film, and I already did a little bit of editing. I had just started my YouTube channel, and Timmy called me back a couple days later and said, yeah, let's do it. And then that first year, he ended up shooting this just giant buck. It was 217 pounds, but just the rack on it was crazy. It looked like an elk. And
baseball bats coming out of his head.
Yeah.
That deer is nuts.
yeah, and
On a tracking.
Yep.
well, we weren't on its track. We were circling this piece because we thought it might have left. We were trying to figure out if it was still in that piece or it left, or it might have been wasting our time. And we were just circling around. He just looked to his left, and I'm filming him from behind. He looked to his left and then snapped his head back again, looked back down, and I looked down, and that thing was just getting up out of its bed. And I've never in my life seen a deer that big. In fact, the doe that was with that buck, was easily 170 pounds.
Jeez.
Because this is northern Maine. And
I can't believe that you were filming him when this happened.
Yeah, and he got 2 shots off, hit him on the second shot, and the rest is history.
That video, you got to mention, it's on the Big
Yeah,
Woods
it's
Bucks
on,
page.
go on Big Woods Bucks YouTube channel. It's called 11/15/19. That's the date he shot it on. He doesn't
incredible.
name his deer, so
He just dates him out.
well, I just came up with that because I had to have a name. And then I also filmed one of the team members, Lee Shands. He drew a moose permit after 40 years of applying, and he shot a Boone and Crockett moose on the second to last day. That one's called Luck of the Draw. So that film's on there too.
That's
Here's a
crazy.
picture of that buck if you had not seen it.
What in the world?
It's not downloading in HD right now, but
That is wild.
Yeah,
That thing is as wide as it is tall.
The mass is like that.
yeah, it's nuts.
The base is bigger than the receiver of the shotgun.
Yeah.
What in the world is that?
It's a
thing?
7600
Jesus.
30-06, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Oh, sorry. Same thing. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I bow hunt, bro. I don't even know what a rifle is.
Timmy don't shoot shotguns, does
No. He used to turkey hunt, I think, in a previous life.
he? Yeah.
Jeez.
But yeah, and
So what is some of the leaps and bounds of your podcast or?
well, kind of like Pat said, just like networking and meeting people, and I got a guy that wants to donate money just to because
Watch
he
him.
likes the content and he just wants to help out, and I kind of started it as an addition to my YouTube channel, plus just to pick people's brains and network with them and learn, rather than like blowing up their phone on social media, like sit down and have a conversation
Right.
like this, and that way more people can learn from it. And
So if the listeners of the Outdoor Drive want to go and find you, what would be the best one for them to listen to?
probably the one with the most information is anything with Jeremy Ballantyne. I think I got 3 out there with him, and he's a Vermont boy, and he just gets it done every single year. And he killed 4 mature bucks last year, and as far as a knowledge standpoint where you want to get your pad and paper out, any one of those.
Those are the ones,
Yeah.
huh? Especially in the tracking world, because that seems like the
He
big jump here.
He kills them any way.
I don't
Bow
think that
hunts, tracks, all that.
I don't think a lot of people understand the skill set that comes with being a deer tracker.
You learn a lot about deer and deer behavior, and you learn it helps in every other aspect. Hal Blood said, if you can kill a mature buck in Maine on the snow consistently every year, everything else around the country just gets easier.
Yeah, that's true.
That's insane. Because there's less deer or
Yeah.
big mature deer. So
Yeah.
when you're on them, you're on them.
Yeah.
That dude's a beast. Hal Blood is a beast. We had him
Yeah,
on the
he's no
podcast,
joke.
and it was one of the best podcasts, honestly, that I've had. Just learning about the tracking thing. Did you grow up also tracking?
No, not really. I was around my camp. It's big woods, but it wasn't huge woods. It's
Right.
4,000, 5,000 acres. Now, you might think if people listen to their suburban hunters, that's a big patch of woods. You can't really track on 4,000 acres. You could get lucky, but that buck, he's going to have a home range of 15, 20,000 acres. You push them onto somebody's posted land or a farm you can't hunt or something. It's not really great. You need really big
that's
swaths of
the
woods.
thing about tracking is you need elbow room, because I've tried to track in smaller pieces that big enough to track, but like he said, I was across it and into a posted sign before I knew it. It was just over.
And then now the deer's gone, and
Yeah.
you gotta
You turn around.
go do it. Yeah, and you just
Yep.
walked miles to try and find him, and
Yeah.
now he's gone.
Miles.
Literally miles.
Yeah.
when they say there's no e-bikes where you guys are going.
No. I followed Neil Pendleton with a camera, and you did too this year, but in the same area. But I wanted to film a tracking hunt just to see, and Neil put on a lot. I think we did 13 miles, 12.9 miles that day, and I was beat. Up and down steep mountains. There were a couple times my legs were cramping up, but
That's steep country out there too.
what that really does though is it allowed me to like know that, all right, I used to think 6 miles on a day was a long day, but it's not now. 6 miles was half of that day pretty much, and I found a second wind. No, I know that I can push myself, and I can do a 10-mile day and 12-mile day, and we'll be fine. That's the biggest thing about tracking. It's just you got to be able to put on miles and just get through that first barrier where you're like afraid to go too far and you got a long walk back. You can do it. Your legs are gonna make it.
And those guys all talk about how they went in a mile into public to go and chase a buck, and you guys are doing 15 to 20 miles a day.
4 miles before you find a track.
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes.
I couldn't even imagine.
Sometimes
what that's
all
like.
day.
And not even
On fresh snow, I'll make a 10-mile loop, maybe cut a doe track.
Oh, that day that Neil and I were out there, we did 13, and we only followed a track for maybe half a mile, and it was an old track. Like we never cut a fresh one.
Jeez, that is nuts. I couldn't even imagine that. I mean, like where I come from is not even. If you were to work 13 miles, you would have went through 25 postage stamps. You would have been in jail by then. No, that's not happening where I come from. Not even in the. You would probably come across 10,000 tracks, but you're not. I mean, not good. That's wild, man.
It kind of just levels the playing field because they have such an advantage, and when the population's so low, and it often snows during hunting season, during rifle season. I mean, it's a pretty effective way to get on them, and you know that there's a deer in front of you. You're not waiting for it to come by. I mean, we do stand hunt and enjoy it,
of course. Do you sit a long time to even see a deer, or?
Yeah, you'll sit. Where I am, dude, you'll sit days.
Really?
And then the group of does in the area works through.
And then you see the does.
Yep. And then maybe there's a buck. Maybe there's not. Usually not.
No, that's nuts.
It's more like what Brett Joy. If you watch any Just Hunt Club stuff, like Brett Joy will sit in the same stands in the big woods.
He's a beast about it.
He'll do it for 7 or 8 days, 10 days straight sometimes.
All day
sitting in the same stand all day, dark to dark, 10 degrees, 0 degrees.
And just loves it.
But then you get a mature buck. Within 10 days, if you're sitting in the right funnel spots in the big woods, if you have enough patience and you can do that dark to dark, it's 100% guarantee. You'll get a buck if you can do that every day.
I don't think there's enough tree stand stacks for me to do that. I don't think there is.
Day 9, he comes through at night.
Jeez, that's wild.
It's not for everybody.
Is that why the northern deer camps was such a big thing? It was just the camaraderie of everything because you knew you weren't going to shoot one?
Absolutely. Yep. The poker, the beer, and
beer drinking,
food. It's just it goes more of a party camp.
Jeez, but have you found that that's kind of like dying off, that whole deer camp type thing up there, or is everybody still kind of doing it?
It's not in Vermont, but I bet you the further south you go, it's dying off more.
Yeah.
And in Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, that culture, I think, is the Pennsylvania, big deer camp culture.
Yeah.
Do you see the young blood getting into it, though?
Yeah, only I think more so in hunting camp culture because it's hard to leave that. Once you grow up in that culture, you want to do it and pass it down to your kids, and it's like that's really hard to die off.
It's because we have Mike Salter, who does our news for our crews, and he has a camp in Vermont, and he always talks about the camaraderie, the love, and the passion of deer camp. But for us, like you said, as you start to come south, that's kind of like a dying thing. Nobody really does it. Like, nobody does it by me. That's not a thing. Deer camp's not a thing. That's where the competition is instilled, and now everybody's kind of every man for themselves. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be like that. I like the deer camp feel and going and doing those things. I mean, I think that's one of the most important things of deer season. I mean,
100%,
honestly.
yeah.
Honestly.
Yep.
Well, boys, I got one last question before we tie this thing up, man, and we'll go around table on it. But we ask everybody this is, what drives you outdoors, Pat?
Adventure and peace of mind.
Oh, that's a good one.
The whole mental health aspect, man. There's nothing better for your mental health than getting outside and doing whatever it is that you love to do. But hunting, it's for me. Hunting, shed hunting, scouting. I love being in the woods, man.
That's awesome. How about you, Jason?
I just hate being inside. I literally
Damn, that's
like
good.
My whole life, like My mom said when I was a kid, in the rain outside and I wasn't allowed to go outside, I'd just stand at the window and just cry. Like, I hate being inside. If I'm inside longer than like 5 hours, I'll get a headache. No joke. I got to get outside. So my whole life's been outside doing everything: snowboarding, skateboarding, dirt bikes. Now getting into hunting and I'll just wander around, you know.
I see where the tracking comes in with you.
Yeah, I got that wanderlust.
Just straight go through the woods.
Yeah, so.
Well, boys, I don't think it's going to be the last time that we have headsets on with microphones in front of us. We're really looking forward to Huntstock, man. If you guys have not even heard of it or anything, where's the website for them to get on over there and check this thing out so they can all be there?
Yeah, you come see all three of us. All three of our podcasts will be there. There's going to be a bunch more podcasts. But if you follow me on Instagram, at Huntsuburbia, there's a link right there in the bio to where to get tickets. You can just search Huntstock on Google. It'll pop up. But tickets are being sold on eventbrite.com.
Okay.
Brite, B-R-I-T-E. Yeah, Huntstock, it's August 12th, 13th, and 14th in Westminster, Mass. It's going to be an awesome time.
In the info for this, I will actually put the link below here, guys, so you guys can actually get on that. But for everybody else, man, where can you find you also, Jason?
I'm on Instagram, Northeast Hunt Film, and on YouTube, Northeast Hunt and Film. Facebook, Jason Alex. Podcast is on Spotify, Apple, YouTube.
Do you want to give him your phone number too?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's 867-5309.
Tidy whitey size, small.
I'm just kidding.
You want to send me some underwear?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Well, for everybody else, man, check these boys out. Great guys. They're doing great things. And for everybody else, man, thanks for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.
Yeah. That's professional. Thanks, man. That was fun.
Yeah, thanks.
That's the fun part of it.